just want to show this t-shirt off, which is a kind of weird synchronicity for your character there, which is my favourite short story, I think. So yeah, I'm really pleased to be here to read from Sunderland, which came out a while ago now, but I'm going to read a couple of little tiny bits from it, but I'll begin by explaining where the inspiration for it came from. I came across an article when I was studying surrealism by a guy called Bernard Roger in a very short-lived cinema journal called L'Age du Cinéma. And in the middle of it, this article popped up, and in it, the following words: "We will recommence building the world, not the stillborn world like the one we have just destroyed. Ours will be a newborn world renewed again and again through its own vital impulse. Among other things, we will build a cinema at the bottom of Lake Pavin. Remember that Lake Pavin is an ancient crater in which water now assumes the place of fire," which obviously excited me when I read it. So this is a true story. And I'm going to read from the beginning of the story. What I did with this particular article was turn it into an adventure tale. On the one hand, an adventure tale, and on the other, the story of its narrator, who is called Suzanne, and she is one of the first 10 women to be involved in the Parisian Surrealist group in the 1920s. In my version of things, she's quite a disenchanted person. She's dragged into their group to do kind of medium work, to undertake kind of seances for them. But she's a bit disenchanted with them. So the first section is from the very beginning of the story, and it's Suzanne performing for the Surrealists. "I wait in the dark room where the voices murmur, where they know their plans. Mine will unfurl like an unknown flag when the glass is tapped and sings its little note, when the colours change and breathe through the moments that have been and will come. I, an elevator to the minds and heavens, a yo-yo, a toy. I hear them settling in their seats, smell of leather polish, tobacco smoke, starch. When the fork hits the glass, they begin. Where are you now? In the catacombs of the earth. What do you do there? I haunt you and the company of priests. When will you return? At the end of the world, now. What's happening? The world has split, a bifurcation. Should we see it? You will. How will it be? A great flood will come, all will drown, all save I, who float on particles smaller than the dust of microbes. Breton heaves his great sigh. He loves me, I know, but he loves all women. I'm nothing special. What I tell you here is nothing compared to the story I shall tell you later. What of love? It will survive, sailing with the armada of other great follies. And time? A fidget of ropes and calculi, everywhere and nowhere. Did you dream? I dreamt of many deaths, the roadways parched, great mechanical slugs chewing the earth, the life of ambassadors in vaudeville plays, the talking parrot. And now you wake? Who's to say? How many are you? We are few. Breton again making his claims. We are multitude and more. In the slave ships, the card games afoot, the sharks here through timber, spiral whispering to the depths to their schools of the great language, that one we will all share. Once I had a life, a hobby, now it's gone. I reach back to the root of all things. No one stirs, insects chirrup. Aragon's head is a block of cheese, sweating, buzzing. He wants more than I can give. I must go deeper. But not today. The merd can wait. So that was the first little reading from it, and the second is from quite late on. In the story, Suzanne populates it with a kind of unseemly bunch of characters, some of whom I was studying, doing my PhD. One of them's Leonora Carrington. So in chapter 9, which is called Death Practice, she's about to go down to the cinema beneath the lake, which is actually a kind of live glass jellyfish that projects people's dreams. And we also have a little appearance of Breton in this section. So it goes as follows. Event horizon. The stacks will go down in one final trick. A flurry of dynamite pops watch from the hill, the skirt of dust spreading until it reaches our eyes. In these abandoned rooms, books are open, ceiling ventilators askew. A single swivel chair and desk hold its staff of ghosts at bay. Cables sway, weeds in a grotto. Everywhere, relics of the kings and queens of a schedule abandoned without record. I think of Novalis, auditor of the salt works, following in his father's footsteps, merely to serve his turn to found his own religion of love, and his first published poems, Holland. Breton and the Gift. For weeks now, I haven't brought myself to open it, and I'm no nearer to ascertaining who might be its sender. The box in which it arrived winks at me even now from amongst my trouvailles. When I began to open it first on that frosty spring morning, the faint heat from within offered curious promise, but then in a flash the pungent aroma was all around. Some sort of meat, something rotten. I closed it tight again. Since then I studied the handwriting on the paper. My address, neatly curlicued, it's familiar calligraphy, but I can't place it. Today there's no avoiding it. I lift out the small object wrapped delicately in tissue paper and raise it to the light. A tiny heart. I grimace at its acrid stench and wonder who owned this heart. Too small to be human, surely. A monkey? It would seem someone loves me too much or too little. What am I to do with this broken machine? Now, Leonora descending. I'm in an element composed of hydrogen and oxygen. What's more significant is that I brought myself to this point, rumpled like an ink drop in the freezing cauldron, waiting for my turn to be absorbed. Not quite like me, I'd say. I don't care for conventional heroics and flag planting. Flea markets or traders' markets, the odd bargain and a good cigarette after supper are all I really need. There are gateways in all ordinary locations. The more banal, the more edifying, to find them winking at you from the gloom. Not expecting things as an art form, allowing the current, the gap in traffic, to provide for you. The giant creature has drawn me in with such a force as one might feel if the front door and the back door of a house were to be left open together on a windy day. I've arrived at the great door knocker of its black head, racing with luminous circuitry, and just for a moment I capture the whole picture, a giant multicoloured sleep rug encircling the earth, furnishing its permanent dream. I'm sucked inside now, far less poetically, by a gelatinous mouth. It's peculiar but remarkably gentle. I can see nothing but pink-white walls, jelly and glitter. There's a smell of fish and powdered bone, and oddly, rose water coming from somewhere far off. I give in to the sensation of being blind, exactly as I realise I have nothing to breathe. I should begin to die, but I don't, which is odd enough, without adding the fact that I seem entirely unruffled by the prospect.